Hey, everybody! Welcome to the Donnie Williams Show. This is the show where I, Todd Anderson, tell an anecdote or give some behind-the-scenes tidbits or some general reflections on my career as an actor in television and film and stage. All of it. Radio. Yeah, I've done radio. How about that? Commercials. I do this, of course, at the behest of a drummer named Donnie Williams. I'm going through a bit of a, mental crisis, depression, just feeling like, things are very slow. When things get slow, I start to think, well, hey, did everybody forget that I exist? Oh! And I got into that, and then I was like, oh, geez, but I got to do the Donnie Williams Show. I got to talk about acting, and I don't want to just complain about, being a loser or whatever. And I was just like, well, I don't know what to do. But I listened to 88.5 KCSN Southern California Rock. It is a listener-supported radio station, collegiate, runs out of a couple colleges in Southern California. Anyway, I listened to it. I discovered it earlier in the pandemic, and I've stuck with it because the pandemic has not ended. And if the pandemic ever ends, which I don't think it will, because even Dr. Fauci's going, I guess there's nothing we could do, because people aren't getting vaccinated at a high enough rate. And they won't, so we're fucked. But that's neither here nor there. I'm getting off track. That's why I listen to the radio station because spent so much time stuck in the house and in the backyard, and they play good music. And I've discovered many musicians. But I was listening to it while exercising, and the DJ played a song by a musician named Chris Pierce, who's very good, and he told a story about Chris Pierce, and I was like reminded of something that happened to me that involves Chris Pierce. A friend of mine who's a musician put together a whole nightclub event. It was supposed to sort of be, I don't know what you would call it, like a variety show, a live on-stage variety show with music and comedy and everything. And my friend, his band was to be the headliner, the final act of the night, but he got Chris Pierce to do the show, which was awesome because, I got to see Chris Pierce live and say that I did a show with Chris Pierce, even though he didn't really acknowledge my existence. But that's neither here nor there. The point is my friend asked me to do a comedy routine during the variety show. And like I said, Chris Pierce is very, 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 very good. And the downside of that in this particular arena, and plus the nightclub was laid out not great for a show. Like the stage was sort of tucked into one part of the club, and then there was a bar off to the one side of the stage, and then a whole other part of the club on the other side of the bar. So the audience wasn't exactly corralled. Because Chris Pierce is so good, is like a lot of people showed up to see Chris Pierce. Nobody else. And my friend had asked me to do 10 minutes of a comedy bit. And I'm not a stand-up. So I wrote, like a mini one-man show, I guess. It was just, the joke of it was, it was about the evolution of pornography. It was just a dumb bit. It was just about 10 minutes long. And everybody was there, like I said, to see Chris Pierce. And everybody's excited. They're in a bar and they're going to get to see Chris Pierce. So everybody's talking. And while other acts that had preceded me and came after me, were mostly music oriented. And it's one thing to play your music in a bar where nobody's fucking paying attention. It's another thing to do comedy where nobody's ever paying attention. Now, I did do stand-up in New York City and Boston when I was a kid, so I do understand what it means to do your act in front of an audience that isn't paying attention to you. But usually, like in those situations, it was like, you know, 6 people in from New Jersey, you know, underage who could get served at a club, and that was the only reason they were there. And they were blah 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 blah. So this is like mostly I was performing for other open mic comics in an empty room. But this room was fucking huge, and it was loud, and I had a microphone, but I had to yell in an effort to be heard by anyone. And it was kind of funny because I went through the whole thing, you know, because I said I would, and that's what you do, with nobody paying attention. I mean, it was like it was as if I like barged into a cocktail party, like a really big cocktail party, and then just stood up on the table and started monologuing. But I think if you did that at a cocktail party, everybody would start looking at you like you're some kind of asshole. But they didn't even look at me like I was an asshole at this thing. They didn't look at me. I just I did a monologue to a room full of people who were there to hear a fucking white guy talk about porno. They were there to see a good musician, not me. Anyway, that was my story involving Chris Pierce. This has been a Blursh production. Blur.